So this is a demonstration for the density scale. I've went ahead and opened up the density scale in Illustrator. And what you're going to do here is you're going to make two density scales. So similar to the value scale, either going light to dark or dark to light, you're going to make two custom brushes, one using line and one using shape. So the first thing you want to do is open up your swatches menu and making sure that it's there. You might also want to use the Pathfinder window, which we've used before. So just making sure that both of these windows are open. So there's the Pathfinder. And I'm going to open up my swatches too. And place it here just so that I can see. I'll go ahead and collapse my properties, layers, and libraries. So you can use the brush tool to create some kind of design within the first box using line. And it's okay if it goes a little bit over the box because we're just going to be sampling actually just the line itself. I recommend making one continuous line, so holding down the trackpad or your mouse the entire time, making sure that the edges are covered. And I'm using a meandering line. You can also use other kinds of lines. And I had actually created these earlier. And as you can see, I'm just deleting old custom brushes. Custom brushes take up a lot of space. So you want to delete them if you don't use them. So if you make one and you don't like it, just go ahead and delete it. So you can also work with very simple combinations of lines as well. So very simple combinations of lines, something like this. I recommend going to Object Expand. And remember, Object Expand takes a path and creates a open path and makes it a closed path. So I went ahead and put that new swatch pattern here. I have a little rogue dot. So I'm going to make a box here. And I didn't show this step, but if you look in my layers, the template is here on this first layer and I locked it and I'm working on a new layer just to make sure everything stays nice and clean and ready to go. And my swatches menu is here and my Pathfinder is here. So I've dragged this collection of lines into my swatches menu, and I'm now going to fill that square with my pattern. Now I need it to be all around the edges. So I'll start by using the scale tool and unselect transform objects, transform patterns. I have it set to 50, but you'll adjust this depending on your pattern. And if I, on my keyboard, hit Command D, I get to, it repeats the last step I just took. So I duplicated it. So I don't actually want to duplicate it again. I want to rotate it just to make sure the corners are covered. So I'll select, someplace between on the circle of 360 degrees, make sure transform patterns is selected and click OK. Holding down Option, I'll go ahead and copy that box, go back to the scale tool, double click, unselect objects to make sure patterns, and 50 might be too much. So I'm going to start in smaller increments of 10%. If I check and uncheck preview, I can see there's a little bit of difference. Maybe I'll increase that to shrinking it by 85, check, uncheck, preview, click OK. And then I'll sample that same box, double click on scale. And it's going to reduce it by 85%. And then I'll just keep doing that, repeating those steps, reducing it by 85%. Maybe that one needs to be a little bit smaller so there's a bigger difference between the two, the one before it. And I'll repeat that again, double click, 85. So maybe I decrease it by 80. And I'm hitting Command Z and Command D to see if it makes enough of a change that I can tell there's a change between the one before it and this one. So I'm just testing the numbers out. So let's reduce it by 76. And that looks pretty good. So it will depend on your pattern as you're going through. And I'll zoom in just to make sure I can see it a little deeper. It might be, and I might have to go back in and adjust. Double click 76, maybe by 70. And I'm continuing to reduce this so that I can actually have a value scale. Double click. So I'm double clicking on the scale tool. The next one, and I'm clicking preview to make sure I can see, and I'll reduce it all the way. Now, ideally, I want to go from very, very light to very, very dark, but using density. And it's still a little gray on the end. So maybe I'll reduce it again. And then I can go back in and change these ones as well. So I'm just going back in, selecting the box, double clicking on scale tool to make some further changes to my piece so that I can start to create a value scale using density. And I can also go the other way. So if I can also enlarge the pattern if I need to, so that I get a smoother transition from one to the edge. Now you repeat that using shapes in the exact same way. So here I use lines, you'll just repeat it in shapes and create your value scale using the exact same shapes. So just a reminder, we use the custom brush tool in the vase, and we have also just completed a value scale in Photoshop.